Good day everyone. In this video I'm going to be telling you a little bit about astrology and what does astrology entail. So basically, if you've seen a Vedic chart ever, you would see that there are 12 houses in astrology, and there are 12 signs also, which are the sun signs, which we all know about, it starts from Aries, then Taurus, then Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and then there is Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So there are these 12 signs, and in the Western system, sun sign is considered as the main thing, which is sun is the outer personality, and in the Vedic system, the moon is considered to be the main sign. So the Vedic charts are usually seen from the moon sign. So the moon can be in 27 different constellations, which are called nakshatras. So I'm not going to go into the details of that right now, but just to give you a brief idea of what all it entails. It entails 12 houses, 12 zodiac signs, 27 nakshatras, and 9 planets, which are Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu, and Mars also. So these are the 9 planets, and I'm going to be just telling you a little briefly about what are the 12 houses of astrology. So the first house is the self. It's you, it's your health, it's your longevity. All of that is seen from the first house. Your bodily characteristics can be seen from the first house. So it is the self, the you. It is you and everything that comprises you. The second house is the house of income, of intake of food, of your family, of your values, what you value in life, and it is also a wealth house. So wealth can also be seen from, there are certain dhan houses, wealth houses, and the second house is one of them. Then the third house is the house of self-effort. It's the house of communication, and also you can see your younger siblings from that house. And what else is third house? Third house is also your courage and your short distance travel. People who do a lot of traveling within a specific area, not international traveling, not long distance traveling, short distance traveling, is seen from the third house. A lot of people who have a strong third house are also seen as being entrepreneurs, because it's the house of self-effort. And the fourth house is the house of your mother, is the house of your homeland, motherland, and it is your sanctuary, your home, where you get peace and calm and re-energize yourselves. So it is the physical home of the native as well, and peace of mind, and what gives you your calm, from where you get your calm and peace is usually, for everybody, it's the home. So that is what it signifies, and the mother, because that's the first place where we get our sense of belonging and feeling secure. So that is what the fourth house is. The fifth house is the house of children, house of education, and house of risks, taking risks. Business people are also seen, artists are seen from the fifth house, actors and musicians and painters and stuff like that. So fifth house is house of creativity. So children is what you create children. So that is a house of children and all kinds of creative ventures. And it is also a house from where you can see the ability of a person to take risk. So stockbrokers and people who are involved in a risk-taking kind of a profession, and can be seen from the fifth house. Then we come to the sixth house, which is the house of health. It is the house of loans, including bank loans, mortgages, and it is the house of enemies as well, and how you overcome them. And it is a house of your profession in a way, because it sees what kind of service do you provide to people. So sixth house is a house of service also to others. And then the seventh house is exactly opposite. If you've seen a birth chart, it's exactly opposite the first house. So the first house is you, and the second house is your mirror image and the other people that you deal with in your life besides your own self. So the person that you deal with the maximum, the other person that you deal with the maximum is your spouse. So it is the house of your spouse. It is the house of your partners, of your life partner, your business partners, and also your everybody else, which is the public. So everyone else that you deal with is the seventh house. So the general public. So it's a very prominent house of people who have a lot of public dealing in their lives, which is the lives of politicians, actors. So seventh house is the image that you portray, and you can see fame also from the seventh house. The eighth house is house of the mysterious side of life, things that lie underneath, secrets, and hidden wealth, and what you get, which is also wealth that you acquire after the death of a relative. So inheritances, and it is also the house of death per se. And also, it's a prominent house of people who do a lot of research and study a lot about human existence and mysteries of life and occult sciences, astrologers, etc. The ninth house is house of your spiritual development. It is also the long distance travel that you undertake, and it is the house of your guru, your teachers, people who come into your life and they give you they impart some kind of knowledge and wisdom to you. So that is also the ninth house, and it is the house of father in a sense that father and mother both are seen as the first gurus of the child. So in that sense, you can study about the father also from the ninth house. And similarly, from the 10th house also is the house of the father, and is the main house of your profession. So it is predominantly 10th house is seen as the house for which for which you were born. So what is the impact that you're likely to have in this world? What was the purpose of your birth? And what have you come here to do? Which is mostly seen from a person's profession, because that's what we make our profession. And that sole purpose, that destiny point, and the image that you have to portray to the world, and the impact that you have to make in this world. And most of us make impact through our career, so that is why it is a house of career, but it is a house of what impact do you make on the world. And again, fame can also be seen from this house. So then we come to the 11th house, which is the house of your desires, all kinds of desires that you have, which are material, spiritual, intellectual, whatever desires that you may have at whatever planes, can all be seen from the 11th house. It is also the house of your elder siblings and your larger social network, which is your friends and people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, is also seen from the 11th house. And 11th house is also a very important house, besides like the second house and the 5th house. The 11th house are houses of wealth. So you can see a person's wealth and gains that a person brings into his life from the 11th house. And then we come to the last house, which is the 12th house, which is the house of the subconscious mind. What lies? So the 8th house is things that you hide, and the 12th house is things that are hidden from you. So there is a difference. So the 12th house is your subconscious mind and your eventual spiritual, final spiritual growth in this life. And it also signifies moksha. If your soul has evolved to a certain stage where it can break itself from the cycle of life and death, birth and death, then that is also seen from the 12th house. And it is also the house of losses. So losses in terms of loss of energy, loss of finances, loss of effort actually, which is used up in your work, in your bringing up of children, running a family, all of that. So, and also material losses. So all of these are seen from the 12th house. And it is also something which shows people who work behind the scenes, and people who go out into outer space are also seen from the 12th house, like astronauts, etc. And people who do a lot of work at a very spiritual plane can also be seen from the 12th house. So this is what the houses represent, and this is a very generic kind of a thing that I've shared, but then it's all very individualized for your own chart, for your own life. And astrology is a beautiful discipline. All of us should understand our own chart to start with, at least, so that we know what we are here to do, and we can try and accomplish that before we die, and understand what is it that what our soul has to achieve in this existence. So have a look at my website, which is www.roshnienlighten.com, and then there's a book that I've written, which is What is Right with You? Test Drive Positive Psychology. It's available on Amazon.com, and you can write to me for consultations. And thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for the likes, and I'll see you soon.